Hello, this is Jcamera here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the first CMF from LEGO that is in my collection. This isn't the first that LEGO's made. The LEGO Disney Series 1 collection. So here is the packaging for most of the world except America, according to research. And here's the packaging for American release. The differences is that Captain Hook's in the American one, whilst Donald's in the other one, and Buzz is moved around. Here is the checklists. They're also a little bit different, but I will show you. And here is the American version. It's just has this warning sign on there. And on the back, we've got the instructions on how to make some of the figures, especially some of the more complex ones that some kids may not know how to build. So now we shall go over each of the 18 figures. So first up in the collection is Stitch from the 2002 animated movie and franchise. Figures got a new head mold that's slightly different in a new CMF that just came out. No arm printing, no accessories. This is a very accurate and great figure. I can't exactly think of any accessory that LEGO could have given him, so I'm fine with nothing in his case. I do wish that the blue was a bit of a darker blue, but that's really my only complaint. Here is the alien from Toy Story, or one of 3 aliens from the franchise from Pixar. This is, to me, the weakest choice in a CMF, because he also appeared in Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 sets. The Toy Story 3 sets in 2010. The best part about him is his molded legs. They're dual molded with these darker boots. So that's really the reason I'd grab this version. He also doesn't have any arm printing. His back printing's quite simplistic. It's also a bit different with brighter colors. And the eyes are slightly different, though only ever so slightly. A good translation from the movies. Also, the comparison you'll see on screen as well. Here is Buzz Lightyear from the same movie series from Pixar. This figure I also think is a bit of an odd choice, though it does make more sense than the alien, because if you were to pick a character from Toy Story, it would be him and Woody. But yeah, it makes a bit more sense than the alien, but I still think that Toy Story should have been skipped because we already had sets from then. But, to be fair, I do like the printing on this one. It's the only version, from my knowledge, that has arm printing. And he has great, complex leg printing as well. I have a feeling that him and the alien were put in here mostly to reduce the cost, especially the alien. And unlike the 2010 Buzz, he has an actual minifig head instead of a molded piece for a head, like some of the other characters seen in the CMF. Next up is Aladdin. So this figure's got no arm printing again, simplistic back printing, and toe printing, and a little bit of leg printing. Very accurate to the movie, I'd say. And just like Buzz, who I didn't mention before, as far as head is concerned, has no head printing. This is actually an issue I've got for a few of the figures, that they don't have a second face. This is, I guess, a nitpick, but considering the other CMFs and that it was fairly common with minifigures in 2016, so you think you would expect that. My one issue with Aladdin is the accessory choice of a lamp, because the next figure you'll see also has the lamp, and he really should have had a bow, I'd say. If not that, then maybe a sword or a stolen apple or just anything but the lamp. Otherwise, this is a great figure that translates perfectly from film/animation to plastic minifigure. And here is the genie from the same 1992 movie, voiced by the late Robin Williams. Just like Aladdin, he has the same lamp piece, and I think he is much better to have it because there's not really anything else that you could use for the genie, and it is a part of him. And with the lamp, he is the tallest minifigure in this series. A close second is the very next one. Before we get to that, he has no back printing, but he does have arm printing this time with the gold bracelets. He also has no back head printing. And I like that you can put the genie tail on the lamp, so it's like he's coming out of it. A great decision. I also like the red line they gave him, and the earring on this ear but not the other. Very great detail. And here is the Mistress of all Evil, Maleficent, from Sleeping Beauty. This figure's got the accessory of her staff, which is made of 3 pieces. And she's got 2 cloth pieces that actually have 2 different colors. There's another cape with a character with a cape that you'll see later. She's got a rubber headpiece. There's a new Maleficent figure coming out in the Villain's Icon set, which to me takes away the value of this one. Still, I'd argue this one is much better because she has the old dress piece, which in my opinion better fits Maleficent, and she has more cloaks. Because if you actually watch the original 1959 movie, you'll see that her robes are very thick, and she's rather tall in the movie. Just like the other characters, she has no secondary face, and no back printing. However, I do have some issues with her that, even though I do prefer this piece, it does come off rather easily. But otherwise, a great minifigure. Not the best, but I still have a soft spot for it, as Maleficent's a great villain, and easily the best part of her movie. Here is Alice from 1951's Alice in Wonderland. She comes with 2 accessories, the Drink Me bottle and the Eat Me cookie, which doesn't have a label on it. A very simplistic, doll-like look like she had in the movie. No head printing. Another figure that could have done with that. If she was made today, she would have had mid-legs because they didn't exist in 2016. And thankfully for this figure, that's really the only gripe I have with her, alongside the fact that she only has one expression. Here is the Cheshire Cat from the same movie. He has some of the more complex printing on the figure with stripes on every single piece, including the back and legs and arms, a molded head, and a tail piece that you'll see in the next 2 figures. He also has no accessories. A great figure, one of the weaker choices, but I still think he's a good enough choice for me to accept. Here is Daisy Duck. She's got another molded head, bow in the hair, simplistic printing, no back printing. She's got some shoe printing that quite a few figures have. And she's got the tail piece, the duck one that our next figure has. And some people I've heard use the torso for nurses. I don't think it's that accurate, but I guess it could do you and all that. Here is Donald Duck, who unlike Daisy, doesn't have shoe printing like in the animated version. He has a unique hat piece and the tail. This time he's got back printing and wrist printing. Unfortunately, like Maleficent, his value is taken down a bit by a later release. Unlike Maleficent though, where it was at least different, Donald is exactly the same in the 2016 Walt Disney Castle. Otherwise, a great translation with no real issues, but I suppose he could have done with some accessories. Here is Minnie Mouse, and she's got a skirt piece like Alice and shoe printing like Daisy. Bow printing more detailed than Daisy's. I personally prefer the red look in Minnie, but pink is very unique for the CMF. Okay, it isn't because Cheshire Cat and debatably Daisy, but it does stand out a bit more. The red version appears in 2 sets with slightly different skirts. The torso's got very basic printing, but still accurate. And here is the main star himself, Mickey Mouse. Believe it or not, this was my second minifigure that I got when I opened them, the genie being the first. So I'm skimming through the Mickey and Friends characters because I don't really have any strong feelings about these characters, which is why I'm spending a bit more time discussing some of the other ones. I'm fine with their inclusion, but as characters, they don't strike me as much. Like, yeah, they're good figures, not even the weakest choices. They're better than the Toy Story characters, in my opinion, in terms of inclusion in this series. He's got no printing at all in the torso, which is accurate, but he doesn't really have a tail. If he was first created now, he would have mid-legs, because he's fairly tall. I get why, because the pants and their proportions, but still. I also wish that he had Pluto as an accessory. We did later get him down the line, but come on, we could have just been waiting for Goofy. And here is, in my opinion, the worst minifigure in this CMF, Mr. Incredible. Before I get to why I don't like this figure, here his accessory. The best part about him, too. He's got dual molded arms, no back printing, to my disappointment, and printed legs, no secondary head, although very loose hair, and short hair, to be exact. He also appears in the Incredibles 2 sets, though this was made before that, so I can understand. He is my least favorite minifigure because he is not a good translation from film to real life. He just looks really puny. Like, you could confuse him for Dash, really. Like, if maybe they didn't give him the dual molded arms and just had flat red, then it may have looked a bit better and given him more muscle printing, but he just looks like an average dude. Like, the video game Lego The Incredibles has him, like, not quite big fig, but he's got, like, a bulked up, like, torso piece and arms. I really think they should have done that, though I do understand as that piece still doesn't exist, or really should, but it may not even fit in a bag. Here is Syndrome, the best of the Pixar minifigures in my opinion. All four I think are the weakest inclusions. This one definitely being the best because it doesn't just have great printing, reasonably good translation, and well, he's got a good enough accessory, but this is also the only way to get him. He also has no face printing, unfortunately. He's the other character, like Maleficent, that has a cape piece. Unlike Maleficent, he just has one. Actually, one difference from translation is that in the movie, his cape's got a blue side, not here. I don't know why they did that, maybe to save up cost, or they didn't notice it, like an oversight or something, but it's still something to point out. Though it's not really appearing that greatly on camera, his shoes are actually silver, as well as the printing on the arms. Great way they did the S. And the blue eyes, I know some people don't like, and at first I didn't like either, but they've grown on me. So, a pretty good figure, best of the Pixar figures, but the Pixar figures are overall my least favorites. Here is Peter Pan. He's got a very unique headpiece that a lot of people, I believe, would use for Link from Legend of Zelda. I do not play those games, but I am aware of how popular it is. The hair's not painted underneath, though. I mean, I get it for the ears, but something to point out. You can actually see underneath the hat part. And he's got no head printing. He's got some pretty good arm printing and fantastic leg printing. I'm surprised by how well they hold up. Just like Maleficent and Donald, his value is taken down a bit thanks to the newer sets including him, but unlike Donald, who is exactly the same, he is completely different. In fact, the other versions I think are worse because they simplify his printing, like the belt's no longer curved and he's just got the green legs, so I'm glad they did that. It's also more movie accurate with the boots, and it makes him look like a kid. And unlike Alice, I'm fine with him with the taller legs because I wouldn't say he was that short in the movie to begin with. Also, one more thing I want to point out is that in the packaging, he has silver daggers, whilst here he's got the gold daggers. On to the next Disney villain, we have Captain Hook, and he was my final minifigure to collect, and a good way to end off this CMF, because he's probably my favorite. I swear it's not a Disney villain bias. Anyway, he's got no head printing, which is a bit disappointing, but who knows, maybe he'll come back on one of the newer sets with a new head. He better. And just like Peter Pan, his hair is not colored in, this time having the hat. He's also got a very big piece, the second biggest piece in the CMF, followed by the piece from the next character. He's got great gold printing. He's also got a hook, a first for me, a lot of leg printing and wrist printing, and an accessory of a sword. Not the most movie accurate with that, and I wish that this here was a separate piece, like with Flynn Rider now, but I still get why, because of the hair, and he still looks awesome. Here is Ursula. She comes with a trident, like what she's got near the end of the movie in the climax. She's got no head printing, and she could have easily looked bad in Lego, but they gave her this, like, shove to her because she's, like, really obese in the movie. And she doesn't have back printing. And she's got the biggest piece of any character with this octopus-like body that really exaggerates how fat she is. She's also got like the seashell collar in the movie and really big eyes. I do think the coloring of the torso is a bit off. It makes sense why, because they really want to make it movie accurate, but it is a hint distracting. Also, if you take it off, you'll see that she actually still has a bit of the printing on there. In case you are confused, because I know a lot of videos I've seen unboxing these were confused. And next to Captain Hook, this is probably my second favorite. And the final minifigure in this CMF is, oh so surprisingly, the only princess, Ariel from The Little Mermaid, same movie. She's got an accessory of a clamshell and a pink diamond. She too has a unique piece. I think it may have appeared before, but I don't really follow the older CMFs that much. She has no head printing, surprisingly. Her hair is also very loose. Like, Alice's wasn't that loose, but hers really is. Still, this is still a perfect translation with nothing lost, and very colourful. Though I do wish Flounder and Sebastian were included, but hey, at least they appeared in the mini doll sets, unlike Abu. Also, from research, these 6 minifigures that you see in front of you are the most common, appearing 4 times each, with all the other figures appearing 3 times. And if you check on eBay, which is where I got all of these figures, you can actually see these ones the most, from this series at least. So there you have it. That concludes the CMF with the 18 figures. You know, there's clearly some characters that are missing, like Goofy and Gaston, my boy. But I'm thankful that they even went above and beyond to include more than 16 characters, this time including 18. Besides, Gaston, the best Disney villain of all time in my opinion, appears in a set, so it doesn't matter. But, yeah. So, the complaints, there's very common complaints of these characters with no accessories and no secondary faces. But overall, I think it still holds up with great printing, great new pieces, and it's great to see a lot of these characters translated in real life. There are definitely some questionable choices with the Toy Story characters and Mr. Incredible. Mr. Incredible just not translating well, and the Alien and Buzz Lightyear already being seen. And some of the value of a couple of these figures are reduced, with Peter Pan, Donald, and even Maleficent being repeated. But these are still wonderful figures that I highly recommend, both for collectors and especially Disney fans. I give this series an 8.7 out of 10. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.